All right, so Brian Steele comes in and like he does with many of these cops, he says, hey, why do you think that Super Slimy album cover had anything to do with gang beef? So he started out with that. I'm very interested to know why Brian Steele keeps harping on that. I feel like he made the point, but I don't get why he feels like that's the thing to start with the quote unquote expert police officer people. I don't understand that whole thing. I mean, I get that you want to paint the picture that this had nothing to do with gang stuff, and that's fine. But I feel like that didn't combat most of the stuff that Gaither was up there talking about. You understand what I'm saying? So I did. Well, maybe it was so awkward, and I felt like it was awkward. But maybe it was so awkward because Brian Steele wasn't the one that was supposed to be cross-examining her, as Paris said. Maybe that was supposed to be, maybe that was supposed to be Keith Adams the whole time. And that's probably why it was such an awkward cross-examination for Brian Steele. But I will say, though, I do think we got to a good point when we got to those emails. When we talked about Lakia Gaither saying, I never gave you the wrong time. You weren't available to meet when I told you I could meet. She said that, like literally said, I wasn't confused about the time. I gave you a time and you couldn't meet at that time. And then she was like, I didn't want to reschedule. Pretty much is how she was trying to play it. So Brian Steele calmly, because clearly Max Shard and Brian Steele had to play good cop, bad cop in this one, because Brian Steele got up there talking extremely calmly and extremely respectful to her, and she was trying to bury them. But so he get up there, and then they like, oh, I want to tender defense Williams evidence, this number, and they bring the email out. They read the whole email thread, which I thought was like, wow, this lady is wildly lying about this whole exchange about should she meet, right? And I know y'all peeped that, right? I know y'all peeped how he went right to the email, and it's like she was the one that set the time for the meetup. She said pretty much, I don't know who told you I could meet anytime before 2:00, but actually I can't do it at that time. I'm gonna have to give you another time. I'm only available in the mornings. So she sends in the email saying, and the email date that she's doing all this was, the email date was what? December 18th, 2023. She told them, I can meet you on December 28th at 9 a.m. We can do a call or whatever. Give me your phone number and we can lock this in. He was like, okay, cool, bet. And then she just hit him back at 4 a.m. on that date, 4 a.m. on December 28th, the day they were supposed to meet, and told him, actually, I decided not to meet with you. Please find anything that you need in the corresponding reports. Now, I don't know how other people use the word corresponding, but normally if I say see corresponding reports or see corresponding PDF or see corresponding files, I'm normally sending something related to it with my correspondence. Like I attach something or another email is coming with the information I just said to reference. She said that and then never sent anything. So it's like, what type of game you playing? To me, I felt like that was the biggest move to discredit her. Like, yeah, you could throw it up in the air. Like, why was you meeting with Kenneth Copeland so much? How come you didn't tell us what he was saying? All that, like you could throw that in the air. That just makes it look funny. But the email thread and her not wanting to meet is, first of all, bias, extreme bias. Second of all, it's a flat out lie that you said that they wasn't available to meet you. That's just a flat lie. So to me, that felt like the biggest blow to her credibility, honestly, right there. And also the whole thing, her outburst against Shard, depending on where you stand on the situation, that could be an extreme shot to her credibility also. Or also it could be, it depends on how you look at it. So I thought it was interesting. They was done with her pretty quick. They got her back on. Also what Brian Steele went through, and I thought was very interesting. Brian Steele said pretty much, you said that this beef started in October 2014, right? She was like, well, that's when I started my investigation. I went back to that date and I went from there for the investigation. He was like, did you know that they were filming together in October 2014? She was like, I don't know. He's like, did you know they were filming together in November of 2014? Did you know they were filming together in December 2014? Did you know that they partied pretty much on New Year's Eve of December 31st going into January 1st, 2015? Did you know all that? She's like, no. He's like, did you ever check the Donovan Thomas's social media as you were investigating the murder of him? You never looked at his social media account one time? Because he pretty much is saying all of this stuff was right there. So while you're trying to blame this person for this murder, they're according to them hanging out together and stuff like that, they never stopped associating with each other pretty much up until he died. They were pretty much, he's trying to paint the picture. They were cool the whole time. So all this time you're saying that they've been beefing, they've been shooting at each other and all this. These guys have been hanging out. It's documented. They're in videos together. They're in pictures together. They've been doing all of this stuff pretty much up until a few days before he died. So I think that was very smart of Brian Steele. Or not even just smart. I think it was impactful. Because you're going to have to show me where me and this guy was very cool, very, very, very cool. And then we was all the way up until New Year's Eve. And then y'all are trying to say that in a matter of 10 days, our relationship fell apart to the point where I had somebody murder him. The state is going to have to prove that. I don't know. Like, if we talk about making people look like liars, they're going to make Kenneth Copeland look like the biggest liar in the history of Georgia law. Because like I said before, he'd been telling the same story since the situation happened. They threw the case out because they said he was lying. So you got to understand that that's like their star witness, and they're relying on him. But he's such an incredible witness, incredible, not in a good way, like a non-credible witness that is going to look stupid. So, I think Brian Steele did a good job showing that and making Gaither look kind of crazy by saying she never even looked at the social media account of the deceased person. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to insinuate that there wasn't a beef. I'm just saying that as far as what these people have shown in court so far, Brian Steele said that they was cool still, and there's evidence of it. They even played the videos and said, look, they're right there together in the video, dapping each other up. This is 30 days before you said that this person murdered this other person. So, yeah. Then the argument started to get hefty, okay? So because the state and the state brought up like a conviction there was like a gang conviction. I think y'all correct me if I'm misremembering this. 30 deep. I think Shannon Stillwell and Kenneth Copeland had caught a gang case together back in 2010, or at minimum, they caught a gang case together back in 2010, and the state brought it up. And then that caused like this whole argument in the afternoon on Monday where they were pretty much saying, the judge pretty much agreed with the defense is saying, we brought that case in the evidence and we allowed you to talk about it before just for the fact that there was a conviction. It wasn't so that you can like talk about the details of this case. And Brian Steele brought up a case called United States versus Hood, a ruling that just came down in 2024, where it pretty much said you can't detail the predicate acts. I didn't get a chance to fully read, but this is what Brian Steele was saying. You can't really detail the predicate acts of the felony when you're litigating another case, pretty much. So, yes, they definitely calling Kenneth Copeland up there to testify. 1,000%. They need him for the Donovan Thomas murder. He like, first of all, originally when this whole thing happened, there's no witnesses to this murder. There's no witnesses at all. There's no camera footage. There's nothing. The only thing they have is for Kenneth Copeland to say he was in the car and he was with them when the murder happened. That's all they have. They don't have anything else. That's why they haven't been able to. Y'all realize that murder was 9 years ago, right? And they haven't been able to even take anybody to trial, let alone get a conviction, right? So, yes, they're definitely calling that man. So then Tuesday, they start the day, and I know I'm 30 minutes in, and I'm only talking about Tuesday. And this will go faster from here because Monday was hectic. So then Tuesday, and by the way, we're on pretty much recess because a jury member, they got into a sticky situation with their health. So they trying to heal that person back up, and then they're hoping that person will be back ready by Monday, but it's not guaranteed. They could still be out. So yeah, we're going to get to that hippie Easter. So Tuesday, they start the day talking about the gang conviction, and the judge, like I said, the judge is agreeing, like leave that out. And now they're talking about cumulative testimony. Pretty much saying, why is this gang expert up here pretty much saying the same stuff? Like, so Gaither wasn't finished yet. They pretty much like, why is she up here saying the same stuff? Again, the judge agreed, hey, speed this thing up. Y'all are doing too much and y'all are saying the same information. So Gaither is off the stand now. She's done. Now, Brian still says hey, I want to get included. And the state actually says we might call her back. So this is a temporary dismissal of the witness. Brian Steele says, hey, can I get in on that subpoena? Because I want to bring her in here too. So I kind of felt like that was Brian Steele's way of saying, I'm going to mess your money up. I'm going to make it so that I have to snatch you off the road so you can't go make your little money that you're making out there on the road. And I felt like that's what he was doing, pretty much. I don't know, y'all tell me, but I feel like that's what he was doing, because what in the world what reason could he have to call that lady back up there as his witness, as the defense's witness? I think he's just trying to mess with her because he knows the WNBA season is about to start. So I think he's about to mess with her. I didn't know that she worked for the WNBA, but y'all are telling me now. I thought he was trying to mess her money up. So then on Tuesday, they start talking about the whole admissibility, and then they start talking about cumulative and all that type of stuff, and that is what it is. Then you get Tyrone Finney that comes on the stand, an APD officer who was actually there the night of the Lil Wayne bus shooting situation, right? So Finney gets up there and he's, talking about his background, works at, he's an APD officer still. He was a school, he was a school resource officer? Yeah. At a school for bad kids, he works with the kids and all this type of stuff. So, they gave a little background on him. So as a side job, he's working at compound. He's working at compound or whatever. And the night that the bus shooting happened, he's saying that, and I'm fast forwarding through because it was talking for a long time for no reason, honestly. They had Atkins They had Atkins doing the direct examination. And we know Atkins is like, come on, man. Atkins is like a law student up there. Like they need to sit him down. But anyway, he's the most ineffective prosecutor in this case. We got to be real about that. But anyway, Atkins is up there doing his thing, having them point everything out. Hey, where were you standing when this was going on? All that type of stuff. Then Finney comes and he's like, yeah, the guys, they're standing on the corner, and pretty much Pee Wee Roscoe yells out, I'm going to shoot this shit up, all that type of thing. He yells that out. So I guess the guy yells that, or pretty much something like, y'all in my city, I'll shoot it up type of thing, shoot the bus up. And then eventually, pretty much they shoot it up, was what the officer was saying. They shoot it up. Officer sees them in the car, the Nissan Z100, Z300, something like that. And, they try to run, they get off and all that type of stuff. Either way, this is the officer that's supposedly seen the incident. And he's like, Pee Wee Roscoe is a YSL guy. These guys were with him, all that. They ran off. You know what I'm saying? All this type of stuff. So I didn't think that was a particularly impactful, joint. I guess they were just trying to say, like, they wanted to establish this, and then they could say the YSL started a whole free Pee Wee Roscoe movement after that, right? So, hey, this is the association. So they're like, clearly they ordered him to shoot this bus up. Like, to be one of the weakest parts of this whole case, especially because, like, we're going to talk about it next, that the state is not bringing Lil Wayne up there to testify. Now, y'all tell me why. I'm going to tell y'all what my theory is. Now, I believe that, first of all, the state is trying to use a DJ Academics video in this trial. DJ Academics is doing back in 2015, did a video chronicling the disses between Lil Wayne and Young Thug, and he's telling the history of this beef. And the state is saying, no, we don't want to go do the history to find the connections and find out why they beefing. We're going to use DJ Academics' research, a non-cop, somebody who's not coming to testify. The judge even asked, who was DJ Academics? Is he or she coming to testify? He doesn't even know who he is. Is he or she coming to testify? And the state is like, no, he's not coming to testify. They're like, then why are you trying to use that video? Like, and then he's like, so you trying to use this video of Lil Wayne? Is Lil Wayne coming to testify? They're like, no, he's not coming to testify. He's on our list, but we don't plan on calling him. The judge is like, well, you can't use that. And I think I actually have a clip. Speaking of which, I got a clip, but let's keep going. And so, of course, we know Attorney Love gets deep in her bag and says, if you don't rule in my favor, I'm about to argue for the next however long it takes me to argue until you pretty much tell me to shut up. And that's exactly what she did. And even went so far as insulting the judge to try to tell the judge what evidence rules exist and how he should follow the rules and all this type of stuff. Listen, Lil Wayne they're not going to call Lil Wayne up there to testify because they know for a fact Lil Wayne is going to tell them that they were doing promo for rich gang artists. They know for a fact Lil Wayne is not going to say, we were beefing and he tried to shoot at me. They know for a fact he's not going to say that. Lil Wayne is going to say, I was helping a up and coming artist that I knew loved me, and I was trying to help him pop off, and I knew a fake rap beef would do just that. I guarantee you that's what we'll never know now, because we know for a fact that they're not going to call him. But like I don't even know if I said it on here, but I talked about it on Twitter. Lil Wayne just dropped a song like 2-3 weeks ago featuring himself and Young Thug. He dropped it in the middle of the state starting to introduce evidence about this Lil Wayne bus shooting. Lil Wayne is actively he's going to help Young Thug if they call him, right? The state knows this. Brian Steele said he found out from inside sources that the state never even called Lil Wayne to see if he was available. So they already knew from the beginning, we're not going to be able to get this man to testify against Young Thug. You know why? Because even if there was like a real beef, they made up so many years ago that it don't even make sense. They could call Gaither back and do what? Gaither can't speak to this beef. They need Lil Wayne to, this is what the judge told him. You're not going to be able to play any video of Lil Wayne saying anything unless you have Lil Wayne coming up here to back it up and give context to what he was talking about in the video. If not, there's no witness that you have on any list that's going to be able to speak to what he was saying in that video and any videos. He's up there talking on a stage by himself. You can't tell, nobody that you have can tell us what he was talking about. And like I said, they know for a fact that Wayne is not going to say what they want him to say. So that's dead. But let's listen to the judge tell her absolutely not and stop playing with me up here. Hold on. Dang, did I miss I think I missed the clip. Which clip I missed? Let me see. Oh, okay. I had a clip about the email, but that was like they was just going through it slow. Give me a second, y'all.
Talk about.
Give me a second. We're going, because this, with him telling her to fall back off the Lil Wayne stuff and her not trying to listen was funny to me. Let's listen to the judge tell her absolutely not to the Lil Wayne stuff.
Talk about, yeah, I made that video, or I didn't make that video. Here's the context of what was going on with us behind that, and any other things that are relevant for the purposes of that. But
its effect on the listener, Your Honor, is the other.
I'm telling you, I'm not going to allow that. So let's just move on from there, okay?
Your Honor, I do hear what the court says and always.
So you're still going to argue with me, right?
Judge, I don't want to.
Okay, all right. I'm just telling you right now. You can introduce the evidence. You're just not going to, it's just like I told Mr. Steele, but you cannot introduce it in that manner and method. It has too many other problems and objections that go along with it. So if you want to bring Mr. Carter in here, then fine. You'll have less of a problem getting this in. I understand what you're saying about relationship, but it's still the words themselves, and since there's no confrontation as to it.
It's not testimonial, Judge. There's not a confrontation issue when it's not testimonial. And I know that the court is aware that the rules of evidence are inclusive rules, and I wanted to be.
I know what the purpose of the federal rules of evidence, right. Or the state rules of evidence are, which we pattern. Right. So please don't be condescending to me, Ms. Lowe. No. I know. I rule upon the rules of evidence every single day. I get something right, something wrong, and that's why, and that's the purpose. But I understand the object of the rules of evidence is to allow for most evidence to be admitted. However, it's got to be relevant and it's got to be for a particular purpose. Now, I'm telling you, if you get Mr. Carter in here, then you'll solve a number of your problems. I'm just not going to let it in at this point in time as presented.
Yep, y'all heard him. I'm not going to, if you get Mr. Carter in here, that'll solve a lot of your problems. And you know what? The crazy thing is, she's up there arguing about why she won't bring her own witness up there. Lady, you put the man on you put him on the list. Why did you put him on the list? And they're going to have the same thing with Birdman. Birdman is going to help Jeffrey Williams also. I don't know what they thought putting some of these people on this list. They should have kept it to cops and victims, because they don't seem to have many witnesses, like actual witnesses that's willing to help them out. Like the victims maybe, but I haven't even seen a victim help them yet. Even Dexter Montgomery didn't give him any help, really. It was like more of impact type of thing. But let's see here. Yeah, the judge definitely should have was supposed to. Well, Brian Steele said they need to be authenticating some of these videos, but the judge is like, they were arguing a lot of stuff. They were saying a case called, I think, Anderson, or was it Lee? I forget. But they did a lot of arguing. So then after the Lil Wayne thing got shut down, then they start bringing up the game, and they say Shannon Stillwell threatened the game or whatever. And then Shard, listen, I thought that Brian Steele was going hard for Young Thug. Listen, if you say Steele, as soon as you say Steele, and you start turning that W over, Shard is up. Shard is standing up in the courtroom, objecting 50 times. Shannon Stillwell's name is not allowed to be brought up around Max Shard. Not at all. You understand? So they like, Shard is like, yeah, okay, my client was running his mouth, but the game and Lil Wayne are two completely separate people. They have nothing to do with each other. It's not involved in this case at all. Has nothing to do with this. And the judge is like, yeah, Love, that doesn't have anything to do with this. Why are we trying to put this in? Then Love is like, well, the game jumped in the Lil Wayne beef, so he was just trying to defend Lil Wayne. And the judge is like, what? So then they like, yo, let me see the video. So they watched the video. Pretty much what the judge ended up eventually saying was, because of the type of charges they have, it's like threatening anybody, regardless of, because Shard was saying that goes to character really. And the judge, and they keep on using this whole idea like, no, this is a conspiracy. So pretty much everything that they do in furtherance of the gang should be evidence in this trial. And threatening somebody, remember I went down a whole list of everything that counts as RICO. Threatening somebody is within the scope of what a RICO is. I just feel like that's a sick umbrella statute that they use to charge people with, because literally everything is covered. So if you got one or more people and then y'all do one of these random crimes like threatening somebody, if two people threaten somebody together, you could get a RICO charge. I just think is crazy. But that's how they're using it. The judge is like, okay, well, I guess we gotta allow it in pretty much. So the judge said like you can't play the videos of like other people. Like you can't do Lil Wayne's videos or anything unless he's going to say it. You can't do academic stuff unless he's going to come testify. You can't do the game stuff, but you can show what Young Thug said about Lil Wayne. You can show what Shannon Stillwell said about the game. You can show that because that's a party opponent and they are defendants in this case in this RICO situation. So, it's a back and forth. I do still feel like the judge is like on the edge of a mistrial, but I just think he kind of just got to let some stuff go, and we'll see from there. Y'all let